people, we should stay muted while the one who is presenting is on the stage, or what do you want to call it?
Yeah, I'm already on the stage, ready for
perfect
my presentation. I have the presentation up. The only thing that's missing is sharing my screen when the time comes.
Yeah. So be muted until I welcome you up on stage.
Yes. Now I have my timer ready so that I don't go over time.
That's a good idea. I need to get that as well.
5 minutes is not a long time, and I love talking, so it's very easy to go over time.
I've been practicing today and trying to time it, so I had to cut it down a bit to fit it into 5 minutes.
Go over time. Oh, people can hear us.
I've been.
Okay, good luck.
Finally figured out why it didn't work.
So are everyone ready? We will start the stream soon.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Nice. So we are live now.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. My name is Priya Eklund, and I'll be guiding you through this webinar today. So I'm guessing people who are watching today, you're preparing for coming to Sweden. If you haven't done that, there might be a lot of paperwork, but there is one aspect that is equally important to everything else, and that's the social aspects of being an international student. So we have this webinar prepared for you where hopefully you'll get an idea of different social aspects of being an international student and being an international student at Linköping University. So today you'll meet a few different people. You'll meet Rebecca, who's current international student at Linköping University, so she'll share some of her experiences. We have two really big student organizations at Linköping University, which is the Erasmus Student Network, ESN, and the International Students Association, ISA. So those two will also give a presentation, and you'll find out more about how they can help with the social aspects. You'll also meet Kårservice, a difficult Swedish word, but they are, Kårservice is the student union's own service organization at LIU. And what they do, you'll find out more about that as well. Now, being a student, international student at Linköping University, you might only think about what's happening right here, right now when I come, but the social aspects also play a part afterwards when you go home, even if it's after 1 term, 2 terms, or maybe 2 years. So Leonardo, who's an LIU alumni, he'll talk a bit about how he's, what the social aspects of being an international student actually has helped him afterwards as well. So we have quite some interesting talks today, and I really hope you enjoy it. I also want to take the opportunity to say that after the presentations, there is an opportunity for a Q&A. So if you're watching now, then ask your questions in the chat, and I will, after all the presentations, I'll ask the person you're asking the question to, I'll ask that question and you'll get the answer from that person. So if you have something for ESN or ISA, Rebecca, Leonardo, just ask the question in the chat, and then we'll have a sort of Q&A. And if you're afraid to ask a question, please don't be, because if you're wondering something, I bet you at least 1 or 2 other people are wondering the same thing. When we've had the Q&A, there will be a mingle, a virtual mingle, which is quite interesting. You'll get the chance to meet some of your fellow students, and I'll give you more instructions about that after the Q&A. So I think it's time to begin. And Rebecca, you're first up. Welcome to, will share your experiences with us.
I will just share my screen and then turn towards you. All right, so I'm here to talk just a tiny bit about how it was like to arrive in Linköping and how I just kind of became part of the student life here, or just normal life. You hear this image in the background. It was actually quite rainy the first day I came to Linköping. It was quite messy, it was stressful. Last year, so it hasn't even been a year since I came to Linköping, and some of my fears are probably similar to yours. So I was worried about making friends because I was going to a new country where there's no family, there's no old friends. I was worried to the city, the student culture, feeling integrated, obviously worried about the pandemic, and obviously just general travel anxiety and worry about finding accommodation. But at the same time, everything ended up working out, and I would like to talk specifically about how I first started before even coming to Linköping. So I started with a language app because I knew that I was coming to Sweden, and I really wanted to learn Swedish to better integrate the city and its culture. And then I also followed the Instagram account that is run by student ambassadors. And Simona, who was running the account at the time, did a couple of matchmaking activities. So I actually had already chatted with about 7 people that were going to start my master's before I even arrived here. And that really helped me calm down in sense of not worry too much about making friends, because I had already talked to a few people. And then I also made sure to arrive just over a week before my roll call, so that I had a lot of time to do all the things you think you need to do, and also all the things you don't even think about, but you definitely need to do as well. And one last thing was that during my roll call, I took the opportunity that all the students have to attend the roll call. So I kind of just stood there and asked people for added them to this chat group that we still use today. So we have a chat group with all the people from my master's, and it's really, really nice because it helps you not be a stranger to your colleagues. So this is just a short list, not very short, but a list of all the things that I did in the first 2 or 3 weeks when I first arrived. And this is why I personally think it's extremely important that you arrive early, because there's the things you think about, like unpacking and figuring out the bus system, but also things like shopping at the supermarket at first take a lot longer than usual because the words are in Swedish and it's harder for you to understand, and you need to walk around with your little translator app, and things just take a little bit longer. So yeah, if you want to pause and have a better look at the list, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I just have 5 minutes. But yeah. And now I have a little bit of a photo gallery of things that I have done since I arrived here. So I joined this volunteering organization that is called AFS, and they work a lot with intercultural learning, and they do high school student exchanges, but they also work a lot with volunteers that kind of help these students learn about different cultures and acceptance and all of those things. And I've done activities with ISA and ESN, who are also going to talk a little bit, and those are very helpful to meet some friends. And this is an activity that I did with my master's. So we all went to the little trampoline park that's north of the city. Here we have a little adventure trip that I went on to pick up a secondhand couch from the university, so Liad secondhand. And it was a 40-minute walk in the middle of November to get the couch from the university all the way back home. But it was definitely fun and something that I remember very dearly. And here we have a little trip to the Tropicarium, who is, it's a little wildlife, amphibian, reptile house that you can visit. And it is close to Norrköping. And I also went with some friends. So there's definitely a lot of things to do, even during the pandemic. And obviously, it would not be Linköping without talking about corridor culture. I was very, very lucky to end up in an amazing corridor. And so we do fika every Sunday, and sometimes we play video games as well. We have dinners together because obviously we could not go out and party, but we had each other and we could have our dinners. We had some barbecues when the weather was nicer, and we even had a little retreat that we all did together. And yeah, and they were a very important support system as well. So it was definitely very, very nice. And I think overall the year went really well. And that's my little overview of how it's been so far.
Thank you, Rebecca. And that was a very quick overview because I have so many questions for you right now. But if any one of you watching have questions for Rebecca about anything that she just mentioned right now, please ask them in the chat and we'll have the Q&A. But I do have one question before we go to ESN and ISA. The first picture you showed us was a picture of rain.
Yes.
And the Swedish weather is not maybe like we have 4 seasons, and it's quite clear that in the winter it's snowing, but it can also be raining. The summer, like today, it's so hot outside here in Sweden. So
Yes.
how do you cope with, because you're from Southern Europe, like how do you cope with how have you coped with the Swedish weather, the rain, the snow, the cold, it's quite moody weather at times.
Yes. So I was actually way too worried about the cold. So the first things I packed was only winter clothes. And then when summer came around and I was like, this is t-shirt weather. And I brought like 2 t-shirts. So I would just say the only thing you can do is just be prepared for everything. So in the middle of the winter, we had really snowy days. And I think the coldest day was about -16 or 17 degrees. So it was an extraordinary cold day. But also in the summer, like it's absolute t-shirt weather right now and people are wearing shorts and slippers. So the only thing I can say is just be prepared for everything, because you never know. You might have sun in the morning and rain in the afternoon and then sun again. It really is very, very unexpected, but I would definitely say secondhand shops are an absolute lifesaver.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much, Rebecca. We'll get back to you during the Q&A. So
Thank you.
Stay in this virtual world. Okay, so next up we have ESN and ISA. You say you're friendly rivals, so let's see how friendly and how much rivals you are. Welcome and give your presentation.
Hey,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Priya. So I'll share my screen and then we'll see it from there.
All right.
Hopefully everybody is seeing this.
So, my name is Oskar and I'm the president of ESN Linköping here on campus. And with me today I have...
So I'm Vinayak and I'm representing the International Students Association, aka ISA Linköping. And I'm proud to say that I've been part of the most dedicated public relations team in ISA for the past 1.5 years now.
All right, so today we will be going through, generally speaking, some of the things that our organizations can offer, as well as some other pointers that we have about what we could recommend you guys do. So basically, both our organizations organize events for you international students. And we can help you guys answer questions if you have any questions regarding Swedish society and living in Sweden in here. So I think that we will, Vinak, do you want to add anything else before we go over towards the pictures?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about the student activities here. So basically, ISA is here for all the international students at LiU to facilitate your transition to life in Sweden and make your stay as enjoyable as possible. And our team consists of a bunch of enthusiastic student volunteers who are from different socio-cultural backgrounds. And as Oskar mentioned, we conduct events and trips throughout your study here. So even though you might all be split into different academic faculties, we'll organize a stage for you to do some fun activities. And now, student studies should always be the main priority, but I can advise you that. But whenever you would like to blow off some steam, you can always come join us. And furthermore, we, along with travel partners, conduct trip through beautiful Scandinavia, like visiting Lapland to experience the Northern Lights. Also, freezing yourself in negative temperatures is quite beautiful, I can say. And then, yeah, so the main question is, how do you keep track of the student activities? The simplest answer I can give you is get Facebook, because one way or another, it is a necessity here in Sweden, not just social activities, but also to find online secondhand marketplaces. As Rebecca mentioned before, the online secondhand market or the secondhand stores is very active here in Sweden. If you're coming away from your country, it's really helpful to first visit the secondhand store before the other purchases. And to have more knowledge on what other activities you can do here, and essentially on the question, how to survive in link shopping or Sweden in general, will be answered by our survival guide video, which we will be launching in the upcoming weeks. So stay tuned to our social media pages. And just two other things I would like to mention here is like another social aspect that I would like to bring to the table is the joining student associations. It's mostly done by students who are staying for more than 6 months. Being part of an organization helps you to connect with a lot of people from different parts of the world. Honestly, my student life at LEU cannot be explained without bringing ISA into the conversation, because being in it made me feel part of an international community, even more than moving all the way from India to Sweden for my master's. And next is the student healthcare. So LEU has a dedicated student healthcare division for all its students. And above that, we as student organization act as the first respondent for the students to guide you through any queries or concerns you may have before and after you arrive here. As Oscar mentioned, we have different social media pages. Basically, how this works is that you can contact us anytime through it, and we'll help you directly if it is under our jurisdiction, or else directly you to exactly who or the concerned authorities you need to ask it later. Okay, so let's bring in some interesting photos. So this is where you will arrive. So this is the student house, and you will get to meet each other directly there. And these are some of the campus photos that I would like to show, because I know you'll be excited to see the campus before you arrive here.
One thing to note as well here, in the pictures you right now can't see very many bikes. However, during the school year, when there's no pandemic, the entire campus will be filled with bikes, and bikes will be your most important tool when living in Linköping, because we have a very well-developed biking network in here. So anywhere you will go, you will you're more likely to use a bike than the public transport system. This also includes the winter, as we here in Linköping prioritize clearing the snow off the bike paths at the same importance as clearing it from the roads. So you will either bike everywhere.
Yeah, and I can add to that from my personal experience, which I went on a 57-kilometer bike ride to the north, and we never touched the actual main road. We went through a bike path throughout the entire road, and it was really a different experience.
All right, so the current picture is an interesting one, and it's part of the student culture here. On the picture, you will see people in interesting costumes marching around on campus when you arrive here, and they are quite mysterious in their nature and are here to welcome students from their respective sections and programs.
Yeah, it's really strange. So don't be alarmed or anything. You have come to the right place if you see such people. They are just here to say hi to you guys, but they won't really say hi. So the thing is, they have to stay in their character, whatever happens. Even if you stand right directly in front of them, they just move in their patterns, and they don't break character throughout their run.
If you also want to keep in shape while you're here, because we Swedes have a lot of amazing foods, you might want to have a look at Campushallen to help you burn off some of those extra calories from the pickled herrings that we up here love to enjoy. So Campushallen is the campus gym, and they currently have 2 locations in Linköping. One is very close to the student accommodations in Irblosset, and the other one is at the
I think we lost Oscar. Vinayak, do you want to?
Yeah, I can carry on. Okay. Yeah, so we have really, really amazing gym right next to the campus. So the thing is, even throughout the pandemic, they were functional because they have a huge space to keep distance and with all the activities going as smoothly as possible.
I am sorry about that. Seems like I may have lost connection.
Oscar, yeah, you can carry on now.
All right, perfect. Where were we? All right, overall inaugurations. So if you late after the webinar, Google Swedish student overalls, you will see a lot of interesting people in weird overalls that has a lot of patches on them. This is a very integral part of the student culture here in Linköping and almost all of Sweden. What you do is you wear your overalls to a select number of parties known as kravaller, which stands for overalls mandatory. And when you go to one of these parties, you buy a patch and you can put it on your overall to show that you were there. Before you're allowed to use your overall, however, it needs to be properly inaugurated through fun events. As you see here, currently on the current picture, mud crawling. There is usually colors, flowers. The basic idea is to get it as dirty as possible. Yeah, there are a lot of interesting things here. Every section has their own color as well. For example, the business administration and economics have white overalls with blue and red colors on the sides. If you are a master student, you can usually get an overall from your own program. So if you are a master student for business, you can get a white one. If you are mechanical, you can get a red and orange one. However, if you are an exchange student, ESM can offer you overalls that are blue with yellow sides.
And this is exactly your overall, right?
Exactly. That is the overall. Perfect.
Okay.
So I think we can go to the next one.
Yeah, so these are some of the pictures from the cultural activities we had. pumpkin carving, and then there was a traditional Christmas dinner. And then Oscar's favorite ESN gingerbread competition.
I would never confess to give extra scores if someone put an ESN logo on something. However, there is a good chance you might, get a little bit of a higher score. So just to keep in mind, we're not corrupt. We just think the ESN logo is very beautiful.
Yeah. Also, if you want to add Oscar's photo on it, that would be really fun and get you even higher score.
Exactly. All right.
And this was when we all invited the students to have a fun Champions League final match screening in O'Leary's. It's a huge pub in town, and it was really amazing to see everyone there. I mean, except for the people whose side lost, but it was still a fun night, I would say. And then we have a lot of outdoor hikings.
Linköping is really beautiful when it comes to hiking areas. I just want to jump in there. So when you do come here to Linköping, make sure that you bring a nice pair of walking boots so you can go on hikes and explore the beautiful Swedish countryside. You don't even have to travel far because in Sweden we have tried to design our cities to be as near nature as possible and keep nature, not destroy the nature around the cities as much as possible so people can go out and explore it. Some areas I would strongly recommend is going up to Roxen, which is a lake just north of the city. It's from Tinnerö Eklandskap. In biking distance, and like I said, I can't stress enough how I would recommend bringing good shoes and attire to explore the countryside.
Yeah, I cannot agree more to that. Also, some which are not that close by, but this was the Rimforsa. It's an excellent hiking place, and as you can see, the view is just beautiful. And this is one of our speed friending events for students. So basically, we give you 2 minutes, and then you switch places between each other and then talk to the next person. It's quite fun. You make a lot of friends during that short 2-minute time. And this one is, I think, Oscar's favorite. It's the surströmming. Maybe you can say a little bit about it, Oscar?
All right. So when you do come here to Linköping or Sweden, I would strongly recommend you at least once try surströmming. It is, to some Swedes, considered a delicacy. And it has the reputation of being one of the smelliest foods on earth. And basically, you have to try it at least once. I think ISA usually has an event in which you can try it.
Yeah, so this is our event where we didn't expect that many students to try it, but you should have seen the eagerness in their faces. They really want to try it. Though it's quite smelly, people were really enthusiastic. And this is one of our waffle events, which we have every month. And then a wonderful Zob soccer. That was really fun day. If you begin rolling, you just roll all the way. It's quite fun. And I would like to end our presentation with this photo. There's a lot of strange things that you'll see when you reach Sweden. And this is one of them, a cat sleeping on top of a random washing machine because, he was tired. I would like to say thank you and
I would
Yeah,
just like to quickly throw in something I've completely forgot about earlier. I know we might be going into overtime here. However, it is really important, I feel, to mention the buddy program that ESN have. I think that Therese should have sent out Therese from the international office should have sent out an email with information about the buddy program. And if you sign up to the buddy program, you can get a Swedish local student or someone who has been here for a while to help you get settled in, show you around, do some events with and such. So I would strongly recommend signing up for the buddy program. All right, then I think we're done. So I would like to thank you guys for your time.
Yeah, and see you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Again, like I've been writing down questions that I want to ask, but I'm not going to take up too much of the time. I do have one thing to say, though. There's been a lot of emphasis on Linköping, and obviously we have a campus in Norrköping as well. And the hiking around Norrköping is amazing. So that's I just want to put that in there, Oscar, that Linköping has a lot of nice hikes, but Norrköping has some really, really good hikes as well.
Can strongly recommend the river in Norrköping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and the campus
really
in Norrköping is beautiful. So even if you don't want to hike in the woods, you can just walk around campus. But what I do want to ask, though, speaking about Norrköping and Linköping, do you have activities on both campuses? Or can you, like, if you don't, like, can someone from the campus in Norrköping take part of the stuff happening in Linköping?
Yes.
Yeah, of
so
course.
We both our organizations usually have more stuff in Linköping. I know Isa have had a pub crawl, I think it was, in Norrköping once.
Yeah, we
last
had
year.
a Norrköping city tour and a Norrköping pub crawl last year.
Yeah, but otherwise, students from Norrköping are more than welcome to come to all ISA and ESN events.
And what's the best way to kind of keep track of what's going on, would you say?
Yeah, I would say that the Facebook page, and also we are working on a monthly newsletter for all the events happening to that month. So we send it at the beginning of the month, and then you can keep track of it. And also for the students, I would recommend the LiU student bus, which is running from Norrköping to Linköping and back. So the transportation is really to your convenience.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure I do have some more questions for you, but we'll do that in the Q&A because we have some questions in the chat for you. But we'll do that after the presentations, because it's now time for Hugo from Kårservice. Please share what that is, because I think that you do an amazing job, but you might need to tell everyone else how amazing you are.
Hugo, I think you're muted. Can you try to unmute yourself?
It might be the megaphone, Hugo. So if you do the megaphone, we might hear you because we haven't heard anything.
Or if you change your microphone setting. Yeah, we can see that you unmute and mute yourself, but you need to change the microphone and allow the microphone from the browser. you could try to exit and enter again, and then you would have a pop-up where you can accept the use of your microphone.
So Hugo will be right back. In the meantime, please feel free to ask questions about the chat in the chat. Obviously, this is about the social aspects of being a student. So if you have on that, do write them, and we'll try to answer them in the Q&A that we have after Leonardo's presentation. So Hugo's back. So let's see.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear.
You're back.
Great. Then I'm going to just reshare my presentation. Okay, perfect. So my name is Hugo, and I work at Kårservice, which is the company that is owned by the 3 student unions here at Linköping University. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about like the big parts in the student life and how it is all connects. So to start off, there are a bunch of organizations at the university. There are 3 student unions, and there are 40 sections that are connected to the faculties and to the programs at Linköping University. And there's also a bunch of student associations that are not connected to any faculty or program. So the unions basically is like a union in a company, but it is for students, so they protect the students' rights. And they are connected to each faculty. So depending on what you study, you can join either of these associations. And these are central functioning, meaning working at this faculty level. And they do lots of important work, of course, with the education quality, the work environment, resolving issues with the university, decision making, and so on. And they do this in collaboration with the student sections. These have a membership fee that you can pay when you choose to become a member, and then in most cases you become a member of a section as well. So what are the student sections then? So these are associations connected to each program. So each program has a section, and these work in conjunction with the unions, basically working with the education matters, the work environment, but they also do a lot of fun activities for their members and for the students after each program. So they, for example, they do introduction weeks, they do social events, they have career days, and so on. And these also have a membership fee. And these are usually characterized by these round logos you can see here on the screen. So then there are associations. We're blasting through this presentation, but there are lots of student associations as well that you can join. And these are run by volunteering students of any faculty or program. So if you're interested in, for example, in gaming, you can choose to join Rio Gamers, or if you're interested in Harry Potter, you can join Lite Magiskt, for example. And these do events and projects, just as ISA and ESN not have a member association. They are. So what I'm doing, I work at Kårservice, which is running the union houses, and we have both union houses and other meeting places where students can meet and, for example, study, eat, drink, have fika. They can go to events and parties, and all these places are owned by the student, which means that they are run as a non-profit, which means it's a lot cheaper to go to a union house or a student pub rather than like a normal pub in the city. So there is plenty of places both in Linköping and in Norrköping. As you can see, I've listed them on here. I'm just going to show you the different places that are offered to the students. So we have 5 union houses. There are 3 student pubs, and these are mixed in Linköping and Norrköping. So even if you're a student in Norrköping, you have places to go. We also have student cafes in Linköping and in Norrköping. So in Linköping we have Baljan, and in Norrköping we have Studentfiket. So no matter where you are and which campus, you can always go and find really cheap food or coffee, which is really nice. And last but not least, I know that Oscar and Vinayak came into this recently. I just wanted to give you like an explanation of the student overalls, because it is a huge tradition here at Linköping University, and each program has their own color. And they also have colored stripes in another color. So you either have an overall, like you've seen on the pictures, or you have like a pair of dungarees or pants. So depending on who you are, you can showcase your identity by wearing an overall. You can also put the patches on, as I said before. And when you leave the university after a few years, or even if after 2 semesters, you can collect the patches and you can have these, like you can see here in the picture in the middle, a guy who's been to lots and lots of events. So it's kind of a fun thing to take home with you and reminisce about all the funny things that you did while being a student at Linköping University. So, well, that was all for me. So please ask any questions.
Yeah, questions for Hugo in the chat. Hugo, I have a question. Do you have to buy an overall, you think? Well, no, no. Obviously, you think everyone has to buy an overall, but is it mandatory?
No, not at all. So, I mean, there are plenty.
But it's a fun thing.
It's a thing at Linköping University for sure, but it's not mandatory. And even if, as Oscar mentioned, there are certain parties that are as you said, the overall is mandatory, but it really isn't. So even if you don't have an overall, you can attend pretty much any event that you want. So it's very open for everyone. And I mean, some people, if you're just staying 1 semester, you might not have feel the need for an overall, and that's totally fine. So, but it's just a fun thing to know. If you wonder what a student has, what kind of program they go to, you can just look at the overall and you'll know. Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll come back to you in the Q&A. Next speaker is our last speaker, then we'll have the Q&A. I know we've gotten so many questions, so we'll try questions afterwards, but Leonardo will tell you more about how the social aspects of being an international student when he was a student, how that has affected him afterwards. So Leonardo, the floor is yours.
Can't hear you either, Leonardo. Are you unmuted or how is your sound? We can see your screen. It's nice. No sound.
Is the megaphone on?
Yes. If you try that one maybe, so you have access for the microphone. Yes, you can log out and log in again. Or reload the page maybe. So when you're trying new technologies, sometimes you have some troubles, but in Linköping we dare to try it at least. So we are here in virtual reality together and we try out new technologies. You are back. Yes, we can hear you, but you need to activate your megaphone as well.
Okay, done. So, and now you still hear me, right?
Perfect. Yes. Welcome up on stage.
So, thank you very much. And I would like to share my presentation. So, just keep me waiting, please.
Yes. You can go back up on stage as well.
Yes, of course. Of course. So, hi guys, hi all of you. I can just share my screen again. Okay, so just to be sure that you can hear me now, right?
Yes, we can hear you, but you can turn around so you look into the audience, not into your screen.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, yes, you're right. Okay. So, hi.
Hello, and activate your camera if you want.
Yes.
Then we are done.
Okay, so now you can see that I am the camera activated. It takes a few seconds. Okay. So can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, and we can also see you. Perfect.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
start.
I will start. Okay, so guys, I would like to give you a very warm welcome. As you can see now, maybe you have learned the first Swedish word. It's willkommen. So maybe the other guy can have a better pronunciation. So I am Leonardo. I have been an international student in the past. So this is not exactly me, but more or less it's the same. And I would like to give you some information and also some tricks and tips about your emotional journey. Because what I think as an old international student is that you also have to take care of your emotions, because what you will keep in mind, what you will learn, what you will have in your future is what you are going to live right now. And it doesn't matter from which country you are coming from, which is your flag that you can see right now. What is important is that the first day you will land in Sweden, you will enter in a new adventure, in a challenge for most of you. And of course, you have a lot of things to do. You have a lot of, so this is the right page. So you have a lot of things to do. You have to concentrate on filling forms, on preparing documentation, organizing the trip, and also you don't know exactly what to expect when you land the Swedish land. So what is important for me to let you know is that everything will be fine. You are going to live a new adventure, new challenge that will be great. In most of cases, as in my case, so I also talk based on my personal experience, I have everything from this experience, even now with me, even after 25 years from my experience. So what I would like to let you understand, what I would like to let you know more is that everything you do, every experience you will share with friends or with people, also at the university during courses, will remain in your mind forever, for the entire of your life. And I'm sure that about this experience, you will talk with your child, with your children, and also with your nephews in the very long time. So what is important for me to let you know, that you will keep in mind with for this experience a lot of things, people you met, the crazy situation you were involved with, also the food, also the other guys that talked about the food that you can try, that you have never tested. And also this happened to me 25 years ago. Also the cold, because there is very cold in Linköping during winter, but of course it has been also nice for me to feel that cold that I've never felt before. Also the parties that you attended and everything you will do, you will keep in the next years the feeling, the emotion that you tried during your experience in Linköping. So let me go in one of the last page that I would like to tell you. It's not like advices, it's not like tricks, but just suggestions based, of course, on my experience. And that person will keep inside all the emotions that you have tried during your period. So live the next week or months, of course, as one of the most exciting adventure and challenging of your life, because it really is, and I can assure it as an old international students. If you want, you can just call me or ask other questions, not only in the Q&A session, but also just calling me directly, sending me an email and so on. And then lastly, I would like to show some picture of me. This is me, the first one here with the blue shirt. And we are at the moment in the IT department, so with computers, because I was a student in computer science, and the other guys are two Swedish that were in my same group, and we were working in a project. Also, this is my host family mom. As an Erasmus student, I had the opportunity to be involved in the life of a family in Linköping. And in that moment, we were preparing pasta with the Swedish mom, and it was nice because also I have been the possibility to share my experience, but also I learned a lot of things from that Swedish family that I also have now in my day-to-day life here in Italy. So it has been a very beautiful exchanging of experience with the Swedish people. Here you can see me at the Ergorn. Ergorn is a pub. Of course, I don't know if the pronunciation is right. I also don't know if the pub is still there, but it's the pub where I used to go in the evening with my friends. And that was also a very good and nice experience because Swedish, when going in the pub, do something that is really different from Italy. So for me, it was very nice to go there with them and to meet other friends, to enjoy the evening with them in Ergon, of course. But of course, you can go everywhere in every pub. Now I think there are a lot of pubs. This pub was located in Ried, that is a district of Linköping. This picture show me with the washing machine. That was the first time I was doing something with the washing machine. But the difficulty was not only that was my first time, but that instructions was in Swedish, and I didn't know nothing about Swedish language, so I had a little bit trouble. But as you can see in this last picture, I had some friends in my corridor. They all were Swedish, so they all 5 were Swedish, and they helped me to do a lot of things, not only to wash my clothes at the washing machine, but also to go to the supermarket to buy something, because I didn't know the difference between flour, for example, and sugar, because I didn't know the Swedish language. So they helped me from the very first day, and now, even 20 years from that experience, I am in contact with them, we get in touch, and we will see when possible in Sweden, and also they come in Italy just to spend some time together. So, what to say more? Good luck to you, and also keep in mind that you will not start only a course, computer science or engineering or something else, but it's a way that you will start a new emotional journey in your life, and you will keep it and you will take everything until the end of your life, I think, as is happening to me, and I can assure it really is. Okay, so I finished my presentation. If you have some questions now.
Do we have any questions, Freya?
Or maybe later at the Q&A session.
Priya, we can't hear you if you are saying something.
We can hear you if you unmute yourself.
I am unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay, I'm writing frenetically here about the questions. All right, so the pandemic obviously has affected everyone in the world in different ways. So the question is, what's the pandemic situation in Linköping and obviously also Norrköping right now. Does anyone want to answer? Say that we've started to do the vaccination, but does anyone want to talk about the social aspects? We just got some new regulations this week. So does anyone feel comfortable talking about this, or should I try to talk about it?
I can if you want to.
Yeah, sure.
So basically what we're seeing now is that the restrictions that we have in Sweden are lifting. There are 5 stages, I believe, that of restrictions, and they're currently lifting like the second one now. So we're planning to have like an welcome period as close to normal as possible, but in small groups. So for example, the union houses and the pubs will be open according to the restrictions that apply. But for example, outside you don't need to be seated. The seating doesn't have to be limited and so on as it was before. So we're planning and hoping for a good start of the fall semester for sure.
Yeah, Sweden is opening up a lot right now because the curves are like, it's going the right way, but we're carefully hopeful. That's what we say. Another question that has come in, which is, I think, very important. Is it better to rent a bike or buy a bike, Rebecca? What did you do?
Yeah, I could definitely reply to this. If you're staying for more than just a few days, I would definitely recommend buying instead of renting, because if you buy a used bike, it can cost anything from like 600 crowns to 1,300 crowns. Personally, I bought mine for around 1,000 crowns, which is about 100 euros if you convert it. But I would definitely say buying instead of renting, because the renting system is thought for people that just come for a couple of days. And if you're going to be living here and using a bike every single day, that's very quickly going to be way more than 1,000 crowns, which is what you'll pay for a used secondhand bike.
Yeah, both Linköping and Norrköping are very bike-friendly cities, so it doesn't matter which campus you're on, you're going to use your bike. So buy one, which will be more economically beneficial for you. Thank you, Rebecca. So someone's asking, like, could you live in Linköping and attend classes in Norrköping?
I can actually
Yeah.
answer that as well. It depends on your program. So for my master's specifically, it would be pretty impossible to do that because our schedule is pretty confusing and it changes from week to week. And for example, last January, we had to be waking up at 6 a.m. to be able to go to the zoo. So it really depends on your program, because if your program is mostly theory classes that usually start at 8 or 8:30 or whatever it is, then you can, it's possible, and the campus bus makes that easier and more affordable. But if you know that the program you're going to has a pretty unstable schedule, I would most definitely recommend being in the same city that your program is happening, because that makes commuting time much, much shorter. And all your friends are probably going to be in the same city that the program is happening. So if you live in another city, you might feel a little bit distant from them as well. So if you can, pick the same city that your campus is on.
Yeah, I think that would be easier as well. We have a question for Isa. So can someone contact Isa if they have problems finding a place to stay?
I would say that we can recommend you some options for finding accommodation. And even though we don't directly talk to the actual landlord, we can provide you with credible information on where you can find them.
Okay, thank you very much. Another question for Esnen and Isa. The reception period, when does it start for students?
It starts in August 3rd.
August 3rd, okay. And that is also when we have the arrival dates.
Yeah, that's exactly. So that's the first arrival date. And then from there on, it goes on for a month. Okay.
Very good. Let's see, is cash king? No, that wasn't actually the question, but is it better to use credit card or can you use cash in Sweden?
Oh, I think I can answer that one. It's definitely more important to have a functional credit card than using cash. Unlike, for example, if the USA, where you can, and we only take cash, you have stores in Sweden saying we only take credit card. If you're also here for a longer period of time, a master student, you will be able to get a Swedish social security number, and then you can, or rather personal ID, which is our equivalent, and then you can get yourself what we call in Sweden Swish, which is kind of like using PayPal in the rest of Europe. But Swedish students or Swedish people don't really use PayPal for direct transfers between each other.
So basically, you can start a bank account after you get a Swedish ID. It's not that complicated, though it may take a few months to set it up, depending on the queue in the bank. But I would say I haven't carried around cash since after 6 months I arrived here.
Yeah, and I can't remember the last time I ever used cash to pay for something either.
Yeah.
So we use electronic payments more commonly.
Okay.
I hope that helped. I think we may have
Lost Priya.
quickly lost Priya.
But no problem.
Well, I saw a question earlier in chat there if there was a curfew in Sweden. So I guess I can just improvise and take a question here from the chat that I have open.
And you can answer yourself.
Yes, exactly. So there isn't currently a curfew in Sweden. There are still some restrictions in sizes of groups and stuff like that, but there is no curfew. The stores are open regular times, so I think most of you will probably live in Vid, and then Hemköp is open until I think 10. Someone might want to correct me there if I'm wrong.
That's right.
And bars are now allowed to be open until, or from July 1st, are allowed to be open their entire time. So yeah, I think we are moving further and further away from restrictions.
I could actually ask another question that I saw in the chat as well.
Yeah.
So one of the questions is like, where can the overalls be bought? And whom should the new students talk to about that?
I think I might be the best to answer that as well. For the Erasmus students who will only be here for either 1 year or half a year. And that is that you can buy overalls from ESM if you are not eligible to buy from your program, which you can buy from your own program if you are a master student. Then I would recommend buying from your master program. But if you're not a master student, I would recommend buying from ESM if you want an overall.
Yeah, and it's the your student section that you have to ask. So if, for example, if you study mechanical engineering, you can go to that section of mechanical engineering and ask if you can buy an overall. So you can't really ask like the program itself, but you can ask the student section that you should belong to.
True. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and I would like to add, I mean, it's really convenient to find all the student sections on Facebook as well. Almost all of them, I don't know if I'm wrong, almost all of them have their own Facebook page, and you can contact them and you get a reply during the working days.
That's correct. And you can also go to the student union's web pages and you can find your sections there. So if, for example, you study at the Faculty of Engineering, which is that student union, and you can find all the sections and their web pages on there as well.
Yes. You won't find ISA or ESNs, I don't think, on those. However, if our web pages are very easy to find. If you type in ISA Linköping, you will find ISA, I think. And if you type in ESN Linköping, you will find the ESN one. Important that you add Linköping after ESN, because as some of you who are in European universities might know, there are ESN sections all over Europe.
Okay. So
should we improvise some more? Because I thought about the question about accommodation and your answer, Vinayak, about if you can help. There's also something called Combo, KOMBO, which is the student union's housing agency, and it's run by Kårservice as well, where I work. And at Combo, you can find people who sublet their apartments. You can find people who want to have a roommate, and you can also find a list of private housing companies. So if you, for example, if you can't find accommodation through Studentbostäder in Linköping or Studentbo in Norrköping, you can always visit Combo, and you can find out about other housing agencies as well, which is really convenient. And if there's if you have a crisis, we can also help you with like emergency accommodation. So check that out as well. So just Google KOMBO, and you can find out more information about the service that we offer.
Yes. Yeah, I also found another question here from Danae Diaz about the buddy program. And yes, it is also available if you're not an Erasmus student. It's for all incoming students. Generally speaking, both ISA and ESN are not exclusive to any student group. We're very inclusive regardless of your how long you study and what group you would fall into.
What academic faculty you are, it doesn't
exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So you guys are all allowed on all of our events. Let's see
here. A couple of questions about arrival, which I can talk a little bit about.
Yeah.
So there are arrival days, which are specific days where the office is open until later, which we recommend that students arrive in, because there is also a shuttle that goes from the airport to the Linköping station and to the campus. So it takes you to campus directly. And there's also a small shuttle that can help you get to your accommodation if you don't know how to get there. So that's why we recommend that you come on arrival days. And I saw a question that is if it's possible to come a week later than arrival day. So there's several arrival days. I don't have all the dates right now in my head, but some of them are like the 3rd, the 7th, and then you also have arrival days towards the 23rd and 24th of August. But please double check these dates on the website. Don't take my word for it, because I'm not 100% sure. But we have several arrival days, and if you want to, you can come on any of them. And it's also not mandatory that you come on them. It's just we recommend it because there's more things happening on campus to help you get settled. But it is mandatory that you attend your roll call. If you're a master student, you need to be there for the roll call. And if you cannot attend, you should definitely email the university and try to find a solution for that. Because if you do not attend the roll call and we don't know why, then you will lose your spot in the master program. So it does not matter which arrival day you decide to come, or even if you don't decide to come on an arrival day, you just really, really need to be here for a roll call. And I personally, and this is my personal experience, I recommend that you come at least a week before your roll call so that you have time to go to campus, take care of all the papers, and go to the supermarket and unpack everything. So that's definitely something that I would recommend as well. So I hope that's a bit more clarifying. Oh, and there was a question about getting a free SIM card. Yes, we have a little welcoming package that includes a free SIM card for all exchange and international students that come to LiU.
Yes, when you arrive on the day, it doesn't matter if it's an arrival day or not, you visit the international office, they get you a goodie bag with some cool stuff in it. So
yeah.
Yeah, I saw another question here. Do we need a personal number even as Erasmus students? As Erasmus student, or to get a personal number, you need to stay in Sweden, I think, for over 1 year.
Yeah.
Vinayak and Rebecca might know this better.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
At least 12 months.
Yes. So as an Erasmus student, you usually only stay for 6 months, and if you stay for the 2 terms, you usually only stay for around 12 or 10. So you will most likely not get a personal ID number if you're an Erasmus student. But usually it works perfectly well with a card.
Yeah, and we have Priya back here.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's so good to hear. I heard that you've had a really good Q&A. Are there any questions left, do you think? So I don't know what
I think I saw one question there. Never mind, we answered that one. I think. Yeah, I think.
No, what I want to just make clear is any questions about roll calls and things like that, you need to talk to your faculty. So you know what goes on. The roll call for program student is mandatory. If you don't show up for the roll call, you won't be you'll be canceled from the program. So that's not optional. When it comes to Erasmus students, you need to check with your faculty. You will probably get information if you haven't gotten it already. So make sure you read through all of that information carefully, if you missed anything. That's what I want to say. I don't know if you guys have already mentioned that.
No, it's good that you specify. And I saw one question that is about if there's anything we should keep in mind for the roll call, and it's really just the attendance. The actual experience is just going there, there's a person sitting behind the desk and you say, this is my name and this is where I'm from, and then they take your name and you can go. It's a very, very simple procedure and there's nothing scary about it. You just have to show up so that they can take your name.
Yeah, and I can say it's an interesting day because most of the programs, they show you around the labs that you need to work in, and it's quite something you don't want to miss out on. Okay.
And there we lost the moderator again.
All right. So I think the more recent questions have all been answered by Therese in chat. We can quickly scroll up to the top here. I think the pandemic situation in Linköping, I think we may have mentioned there.
Yes.
I had to see a question whether or not there are campus part-time jobs. I do not feel I am qualified to answer that one. Maybe Hugo from Kårservice knows something more about.
Or Rebecca can talk a bit about student ambassadors.
Yeah, I can mention a bit about that. So the first thing I will say is a bit of a disclaimer. So if you're coming here to do a master's degree, the master program is full-time. So the university in no way recommends that you have a full-time or part-time job on the side, because the programs are full-time, so they are supposed to take up your entire working week. This said, it's also very hard to find jobs anywhere that is not the university, because most jobs either in restaurants or shops or any other place that usually hires students, usually they will require you to speak Swedish fluently because we are in Sweden. So it's also very hard for international students to get jobs that way. There's a few opportunities at the university, but again, it is not easy to keep a job at the same time that you're studying because it is a full-time program. But the university has a vacancies page, which I think is like LiU/vacancies or something like that. And sometimes there are student positions announced there, and they're usually part-time. And most of the time, they also are okay with you not knowing Swedish. But again, think very carefully about whether you're prepared to take on something like that.
All right.
Yeah, and I would like to add to that. So there are openings, maybe not in the first year of your master's, but when you jump into your second year, there are some courses which the professor would require a student assistant or something like that, with paperwork or assisting with the labs and other activities. So the page Rebecca just mentioned, you can check it out and then you'll see it there.
All right, I see Priya is back, and I also see Therese wrote in the chat that we might want to move on to the mingle.
We are moving on. Can you hear me now?
No, it's robotic.
Huh?
Okay, now it's
your
clear.
connection isn't very good. Okay, there.
Yeah.
Okay. No, so let me just do the second. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure working with professionals. Also, thank you for taking over. So we've done Q&A, you've heard presentations. So we thought it would be a good idea for you guys who are watching to mingle either with each other or with the speakers. So we've set 5 mingles. Trying to kind of
It's really hard to hear what you're saying. Your connection is very bad, so it's really hard to say. But I think you said that we have 5 mingle rooms.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Anyone want to take over?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, Vinayak,
take over. So we have 4 mingle rooms associated with different study programs. So you can see in the autumn of August from different programs, or you can just come in and just have a small chat with us. But also, if there might not be a big space for everyone to join. So if you are clear with all the questions, or if you're happy with your mingle, you may be asked to leave for others to be joined in the rooms. But see you guys there.
Yeah, I think also Therese will write the links out in the chat for this. Let's see here. I know the chat is a little bit behind us, so
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me now?
No, it's really clear. Yeah, it's perfect.
Oh, wow. Thank you. So Therese, who from the international office is in the chat, she's been moderating the chat. So she'll put the links to the different rooms. So click on the link or just copy paste the link to the room that you choose. And it does not work well with Safari. So if you're a Mac user, Apple user, you need to have another browser downloaded. When you connect, you'll have a choice how to connect. So connect as an attendee. You need to turn on the microphone to be heard. And if you also turn on the megaphone, you'll be heard in the whole room. So that's up to you. Do you want the whole room to hear you, or do you just want to talk to specific people? There are a limited number of attendees in each room. So when you are done, just leave the room to give space to someone else, especially in the speakers room, in case you have a lot of questions for the speakers, so that a lot of people can, so as many people as possible.
All right, I think I can continue from there, since she seems to have disconnected. when you guys are done with the room, to move over to the next room, or to make space for someone else who might be waiting.
Yeah. So
All
shall
right.
we jump over there?
I believe so. Let's see here
Has the
in
links
a
been
few
posted?
seconds. Not quite yet, but they are a few moments behind us in the chat.
Okay, so just.
I think we should jump into the other room.
Yeah.
See you there.
See you guys there.
See you.